Goldwing Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, who is fearless in a world of reckless automobiles. These are Caliente Motovlogs.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Your boy Chris is out on the Goldwing, out on the DCT, out for a ride, trying to get me a ride in today. It feels good to be back in the great city of Memphis, out on my Honda Goldwing. And actually today is the first ride that I've had since I had my trailer lid repaired at California Sidecar out there in Arrington, Virginia. So shouts out to the staff out there at California Sidecar. I'm actually out here testing out my trailer lid, and with all of the bumps and road buckles that I will go over today, I'm sure it's gonna let me know how my trailer is holding up. But so far everything looks pretty good. Everything lined up really well, and I did a great job lining everything up and getting the trailer lid back on properly, getting my lights and stuff hooked up. So I'm just out here cruising on the Honda Goldwing. I'm gonna head to downtown Memphis. I'm gonna head downtown Memphis. I'm gonna meet up with Mr. Pat. We're gonna take a little ride, get a little ride in today, trying to take advantage of some of this nice weather that we're having. We're now into the fall. We're into the fall months, and here soon we're gonna see the leaves changing. We're gonna see the grass starting to change. We're getting into the fall months. The temperature is going to just slowly just dive, and that's what I'm looking forward to, because it's been hot, man. It's been one hot summer. You know, the way I see it, this has really been the hottest time of my life. Or maybe I'm just getting older and I can't handle the heat like I used to. You know, they don't call me Caliente for nothing, because Caliente is hot. So I don't know if I'm just getting older and can't take the heat like I used to, or if it's just been one hot year. But man, it was toasty. Shouts out to Charles McQuaig out there in Zebulon, North Carolina. Shouts out, Charles. But yeah, it's been so hot, man. It's almost been too hot to ride, to be honest with you. And so I've been just waiting on the weather to break. And right now it's pretty comfortable, man. When you start getting into temps in the, you know, the lower 90s and the triple digits, you know, that's just really uncomfortable. You know, you have to constantly be moving, constantly keep it moving, or you will get dehydrated really quick. And that's why I try to keep me something cold to drink on my Honda Goldwing. Got me some ice water there in my cup and my Yeti. So you got to stay hydrated when you're out here on the Goldwing. So today I want to talk a little bit about my enclosed trailer. You know, most of the times when you guys see me, I'm on my Honda Goldwing. I rarely pull my motorcycle, but I'm not above pulling my motorcycle. You know, most of the times I would rather ride my Honda Goldwing. But sometimes the weather is not the best. Sometimes the weather is not favorable, and it's better to actually pull your motorcycle. But I rarely pull, but I'm not above trailering my Honda Goldwing, even though I have an old saying that if you see my Honda Goldwing on the trailer, call the police because it's been stolen. That's just a running joke I have, man, because I'd rather ride. But when it's really hot out, sometimes trailering is just not a bad idea, especially in these hot months when it's really toasty. So we're getting into October. At the beginning of October, the weather has broke, and it's just perfect weather for riding. Right around the corner from Oktoberfest, right around the corner from Galveston. How many of you guys out there going to the Galveston bike rally? Be sure to put it down in the comment section below. How many of you guys would be trailering your motorcycle to the bike rallies? You know, like I said, trailing is not always a bad thing. You know, I might even trailer and sleep inside of my trailer. You know, I gotta talk about that. You know, these hotels and places to stay, man, the prices just have really gotten really high. You know, prior to COVID, you could get a good hotel room for $150. You know, $130. Heck, you could have got a good hotel room for 99 bucks. But it seems like now, since COVID, man, these hotels have really raised their rates on a place to stay. So to get a decent hotel, at least for me, it costs at least a couple $100 a night. And when you're talking about a bike rally, you know, they're going to at least double the rate, pretty much. So you could spend anywhere from $250 to $500 for a decent room per night. You know, just depending on where you want to stay. You know, and I know there's some of my viewers out there that says, hey, I'm not paying that kind of money to go to a bike rally. I'm not going to pay $500 a night. And I do understand, but believe me, they're out there, they're charging these ridiculous amounts of fees to stay at a hotel, which brings me back to my enclosed trailer. You know, I've been starting to rethink this thing, man. I might even start considering camping, you know, when it comes to towing my motorcycle. I might sleep inside of my enclosed trailer, man, get that thing set up and save a little bit of money, because if you're gonna do 2 nights or 3 nights at $200 a night, you know, you at $600 plus tax, not to mention food, not to mention gas. So you could easily spend $1,000 just for a 2.5 day weekend. If you leave out on Friday and come back on Sunday, it could easily be $1,000, at least for me. When I do a weekend trip, I generally spend probably $1,000, because you're talking about $200 a night. So if you do a Friday night, Saturday night with tax, you're probably right at $500. And then when you add in fuel, and then when you add in food, which can be expensive, so you're gonna eat probably what, 3 times a day? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. So you can spend $150 easily on just food per day. So for a couple of days now, you're at $300 plus $500 that you spent for the room, a couple $100 for gas on a round trip. So yeah, $1,000 easily you could spend on just a weekend getaway on the motorcycle. At least that's what I normally experience. But like I said, you know, you got some guys, they'll stay in cheaper hotels, you know, but you kind of pay for what you get. You got some hotels out there, you could stay $50 a night. You could save some money that way. Or you could spend much more, depending on how deep your pockets. Shouts out to Deep Pockets. Juice, aka Deep Pockets. I don't have that juice money, so I may considering just in the future doing an overnight stay inside of my enclosed trailer. It'll be fun. You know, I have that thing set up, man. I even have a connector right there on my pickup truck where I could just plug in for a 110 outlet. You know, that came standard on my pickup truck. But I also have my Honda generator. I think it's a 2200 EU. And one of the things I kind of like about the generator is that I can monitor the generator output, my kilowatts. I can monitor the gas level right there on the app of my phone. So that's pretty neat to have if I decide to do a little camping with my enclosed trailer, is to utilize my Honda generator. And the thing is really quiet in comparison to a loud generator. So I'm just cruising on my Honda Goldwing, trying to keep my head on the swivel out here in the mean streets of Memphis, head toward Bass Pro. Meet Mr. Pat down at Bass Pro. I'm gonna take a little ride today and try to get lunch. Man, I really miss being out on my Honda Goldwing. It's always good to get a ride in. Current temp, I'm showing 88 degrees. It's still a little bit toasty out here on the Honda Goldwing. Talking to you on my Cardo Pack Talk Pro. You know, I've been getting questions about my Cardo. Some of you guys been asking about, you know, making a phone call and you're getting some distortion, you know, when you have your headset connected to the bike. And one of the questions that I've been getting is, how do I have such clear audio on my phone calls when I'm plugged into the bike? Well, here's one of the things that I found works for me. I do not connect my Cardo to my Honda Goldwing. Let me repeat, the headset that's on my helmet, my Cardo Pack Talk Pro that's on my helmet, is not connected to my Goldwing. I actually have a dummy headset inside of my glove box that I use to make my Apple CarPlay work. So I actually have two headsets. I have one headset connected to the bike to get my Apple CarPlay to work, but the headset that's on my helmet is connected to my cell phone. So that's how I do it. You know, the thing about these headsets is that, you know, they'll tell you that you can make phone calls, you can talk to bikers, you know, you can put your headset in regular Bluetooth mode, you can record your audio, and the truth is, it does all of those things. But one thing that a lot of times these helmet communication companies would not tell you is that you can't do those things at one time. So the majority of riders out there have one headset, they pair their headset to the bike, they have their headset paired to their phone, they're trying to listen to music, they're trying to talk to other bikers, they're trying to make phone calls, and they run into a roadblock. And that's because your headset can do all of those things. It just will not let you do all of those things at one time. So choose one thing that you would like to do with your headset, and you can do it one at a time perfectly. But if you start trying to listen to music while you're talking on the phone, and you're trying to, you know, talk to another biker, and you're trying to do all of those things at the same time, that's where you run into problems. So for me, I don't even pair my headset that's on my helmet to the bike. I have a separate dummy headset in my glove box that I pair, or that I connect to the bike, just to make my Apple CarPlay work. So that's one of the things that I do. I don't try to do everything at one time. I am here in downtown Memphis, out here on I-40, approaching Riverside Drive. To my right, Bass Pro. To my left, Crown Plaza. Also to my immediate left, there is a Sheridan. And there is the Convention Center. The Renaissance Convention Center here in downtown Memphis. Riding on the double dark side. Riding on the double dark side. Well, anyway, if you guys have any questions or any comments, don't hesitate to put them down in the comment section below. There is Mud Island or Harbor Landing. And if you like this video, click the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is your boy Chris. out on the Goldwing. Out on the Goldwing. Here in downtown Memphis. And I will talk to you guys later. Deuces.